Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Jae Encarnacion, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are thrilled to have Josh Patrick, the founder of The Sustainable Business. Based in South Burlington, Vermont, Josh brings over 40 years of entrepreneurial experience, having led ventures like the Sale Ready Company and authored Sustainable, a fable about creating a personally and economically sustainable business. Since founding the Sustainable Business in 1997, he's helped blue collar business owners build enterprises that thrive without them using his four-step framework. We'll be exploring his founding story, how his business empowers owners to achieve freedom, and his vision for scaling this impact-driven venture. So with that being said, let's dive right in. Josh, welcome to Founders Future.
Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it.
An absolute pleasure to have you on today and an honor as well. Such an incredible background you have here, Josh. So if you could start at the beginning for our listeners today, what specific problem in the business landscape really inspired you to start the sustainable business?
The sustainable business was actually my third business. It was a slow rolling sort of thing. I had a food service business, where we fed people in factories for 20 years, sold that, went into the life insurance and investment business.
Mm.
And because all my clients owned businesses and they kept asking me for advice and I kept giving them advice, I said, maybe I should make this into another business, which was not, I wouldn't call it a real business. I would call it a business to keep me busy. My real business was the first one I did, but the sustainable business essentially was I've been studying private business for 40 years and I figured out what works and what doesn't work. And I started bringing that in the world, wrote two books about it. I've got another two books coming out soon, probably sometime this year,
Amazing.
and have, believe it or not, sketched out another 10 books that I plan to write. So
Wow.
we'll see. We'll see how many of them I actually get done. But they're
Incredible.
all on, but each one's on a topic that business owners need to do better than they normally do if they want to grow their business.
Love it. I love it. So with that, I definitely would love to get into the nuts and bolts. Obviously, you've been around for quite some time now with the sustainable business and have seen that success. So walk us through what it's like today with the sustainable business, especially around generating revenue today. So for our listeners, what is the core offer here? I know you have some coaching, consulting, an objective review. How
There's,
is your
co-
offer structured for your clients?
there's coaching and consulting, and we have several levels of where you can go. We have what we call laser coaching, which is unlimited 15-minute calls. And frankly, for most people, laser coaching is very effective because most business problems can be solved in less than 15 minutes if you know what you're doing.
Hmm.
We have another product which is called the Financial Freedom Project, which is saying, what do you need to do in your business for you to become financially free from your business? Most business owners think their business will get them there, and it doesn't. We have a bunch of tools that we figure that. We have another program called the Objective Review, which takes a deep dive into everything about you, your business, your family, and comes up with what are the few things you could do to really move the needle. Then we have our one-on-one coaching, which is called the 50/50 Profit Accelerator. And the goal of that is to increase your profits by 50% and decrease the time you work by 50%. And that product is all you can eat, and it's very expensive and a lot of hands-on. I only accept 4 or 5 people at a time in that program because it's really intense.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So that really is a nice array of what you have. So have a kind of the laser coaching for just close knit 15 minutes. And then when you really want to get into the nitty gritty with a client, you have them on the 50/50 Profit Accelerator to really dive deep with them and get them to that next level. So with that there, Josh, how do you think about the idea of scaling, right? You've been around for quite some time now. Where are you now with the mindset and scaling the sustainable business? And it sounds like the 50/50 Profit Accelerator is that main offer you have. How are you thinking about scaling moving forward?
Let's talk about scaling other people's businesses because I'm not interested in scaling mine now. I'm
Okay.
72 and I'm on the downside, so I'm not looking to work harder or longer.
Yep.
Scaling a business, I think, and there's a real problem with the private business owner world about scaling businesses. Everybody thinks about Silicon Valley. They don't think about the local business. And I had this problem myself as I was focusing on scaling sales, and I scaled sales so well, I came within a hair's breadth of putting myself out of business because growing a business is expensive. So now when I talk to people about scaling, it's not scaling business or not scaling sales. That may be part of it. It's really about scaling profits. And profits are where it's at. I remember my father and I had this ongoing conversation. He said, it's great you're growing this business so fast, but where's the profits? And I would say, you got to grow the business before the profits come. He was right and I was wrong because I grew the business like crazy. And whatever was in profits and cash flow disappeared dramatically, came within the hair's breadth of going out of business. And I learned a very valuable lesson, which is without profit, you don't get to play the game.
Interesting. Very interesting. Now, so on that front, being that now taking a step back and taking your foot off the gas pedal, but what's it look like now for the acquisition side of things? Are you working solely off referrals now? Are you still doing outreach to bring in leads and that side? Walk us through your acquisition process.
I'm very lazy about this. I have a podcast myself,
Okay.
and the guests we bring on the podcast all own businesses. And if I believe there's something that we can do to help them, I might mention it to them.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we're really just looking for great guests for our podcast. And I have a bunch of books. I write in LinkedIn regularly. I have a newsletter list I send stuff out to regularly. But I'm really not pushing very hard to find new business, frankly. That's for guys your age. My age, I'm 72. I think I already mentioned that. And I'm on the downward slope. I'm not on the upward slope. I have no interest in building a business that requires 40 hours a week of my work. 10 hours a week is fine. I'm more interested in writing more books and writing the other stuff that I write.
I absolutely love that. So with that, is this something that you're now doing? Obviously, 10 hours a week. This is more of a passion project at this point, really coming on the back end. Are you just running everything on your own now as a solopreneur? Do you have anyone that works with you, or is this just the Josh show now?
I have a virtual assistant who works with me, and she's based in the Philippines.
I love it. I love it.
So I literally don't do anything unless I have a unique ability for it. I've learned a long time ago that there's a ton of stuff that I'm really not very good at. And there's a few things that nobody's better than me at. And I need to do those few things and not all the other stuff. So I have learned to delegate that well. When I had my food service company, we grew that to 90 employees.
Amazing.
And when I had that, the thing I learned was that all I had did was things I was really good at. We had other people in the company who did stuff that I used to do when I was small, but were way better at it than I was.
I love it. I love that. Talk to us a bit now, Josh, with your mindset. Obviously, you want to focus more on writing and really just enjoying retirement, right? You've worked so hard your entire career. So, as far as a sustainable business goes, is this something that you're just going to do till your clients start to taper down? Or is there a timeline that you're thinking about running the sustainable business for a bit longer? What does that look like in your mind right now?
The sustainable business is now morphing into an author's business. I have a theory, and I don't know if it's true, but we'll test it. That if I put multiple books out on Amazon a year, I'll get some traction because Amazon will start showing those books more often. I'm told that's true.
Right.
We are going to control the copyright for all the books that we put up, and we're going to be doing Amazon advertising to sell some books. And I think that will make a little bit of money off that. But more importantly, I view these books as passion projects for me. They're fun to do. I enjoy writing. And there's a lot of, I think I can influence more people through writing than any other way I have these days.
I love that. So really just not looking to build or grow anymore, just use what you have, work with the clients.
Yeah, I'm really looking to do things I find interesting. If I don't find it interesting, I have no interest in doing it. I just left my wealth management business, and really I just left it like 2 weeks ago. And there's a time for everything, and the time for that had come to go. And now I'm just focusing on what it takes to create a great privately held business that serves you and serves the business and all your stakeholders at the same time.
Absolutely incredible. I love that. So, what can you point to then on that front with the amount of experience that you've had in this space, Josh? What's a misconception that people often have about building a sustainable business, especially around owner independence or scalability? What's something that you can address for the listeners on that front?
Scalability, there's certain sizes you get to in the business where you have problems.
Right.
Anybody can run a business with less than 10 employees. It's not hard because those 10 employees report directly to you. Everything is running through you. You're the bottleneck of the business, but you're also making sure there's as few mistakes as possible, even though you're probably making more mistakes because you're doing things you shouldn't be doing and you should letting your team grow. But if you want to get past 10 employees, and it's not the sales, by the way. I've seen businesses with 14 people that do $5 million, and I've seen businesses with 90 people that do $5 million. So it's the complexity in the business is how many team members you have, not the sales you do. So that's the first myth that people have. So as you're building complexity into your business, you have to build systems. And if you're building complexity in your business, you have to learn how to delegate. You have to know how to hire. You have to learn how to create and build systems. You have to learn how to create and build dashboards. And dashboards are crucial because if they're built right, they're going to tell you what's going to happen in the future about your business, not what's happened in the past. Too often, business owners think they're building a dashboard with their P&L. But your profit and loss statement tells you nothing about what's going to happen in the future. It just tells you what happened in the past. And the past is over with. So you better focus on the future if you want to build a business that's scalable. And the truth is you need significant ongoing profits and you need a strategy for how you're going to grow. One of the 4 buckets of profit that we think you need to fill is a fully funded growth program. And what that means is where are you going to get the dough to grow your business? Are you going to bring outside investors? Small businesses rarely do that because they can't find anybody who wants to do it. And you can partner with a bank, certainly, but a bank is not going to finance 100% of your growth. A bank will finance maybe 80%, 70% of your growth, but only if you have assets. And if you don't have assets, they're not going to finance you. If you don't have assets, you're a professional services company and you want to grow your business, it's going to take capital. Get out your credit card and find a high limit, low interest credit card. I've had one for years. My credit card right now, I think I'm paying 7% interest on it, and it's got a $53,000 line of credit.
Wow.
I never get that high, but the truth is I've got it if I need it.
Absolutely.
And if you're in a professional services business, your cost of growing really isn't that much unless you're bringing people on or you're going to allow receivables. If you're smart in a professional services company, you get paid before you do the work.
I absolutely love that. So, with that, then, how do you see, Josh, moving forward, the sustainable business consulting industry as a whole and its evolution in the future, especially with your focus on recurring revenue and systemization? What do you see that industry evolving into?
Well, it's not the industry, it's the consulting that I do. I work mostly with blue collar businesses. And these are all things that are applicable to them. So I'm not really quite sure what your question is.
As a whole, the sustainable business industry, the consulting industry as a whole.
The consulting industry as a whole has a problem because they don't deliver on their promises.
Hmm.
When we work with people, we guarantee what we're going to do. If I say I have a 1 hour consultation also, and at the end of that 1 hour, which I think I'm charging, I don't know, $7.95 for that or something like it.
Hmm.
At the end of that hour, if you don't have actionable things you can do, you don't pay me. It's that simple. With our 50/50 program, we guarantee that you're going to increase your profits by 50% and you decrease the amount of time you work by 50% if you follow the program. If you don't follow the program, there's no guarantee, obviously. So I believe in is what's called risk reversal. If you can get the client to get a result that they want, and you're willing to put your money on the line, then you can do that. I have a part of my 50/50 program. If I think you're the right company, I'll take you on for a very low fee and 20% of the increase in profits for the next 3 years. And there we're working in a partnership. Now, it's got to be the right business. I've got to believe that we can actually do it. And it's got to be the right industry. Most of the time when I take people on with that, we'll double profits in the first 2 months. Because doubling profits, by the way, is significantly easier than doubling sales.
Mm,
And people don't believe that, but it's really true. Doubling sales is hard.
yes.
Doubling profits. I can double profits for most companies without increasing sales by $1.
Wow. Wow. And then that just goes to show, right? Just being a veteran in this space and knowing the ins
Well,
and outs.
I'll tell you how I do it.
Yeah.
Mostly is just look at pricing. Especially in the professional services world, but even my contractor clients, when I look at how they price things, first of all, we get them away from charging dollars for hours because
Right.
too many companies trade dollars for hours, and there's no upside for you if you do that. It's only downside.
Mm,
Even worse are the people who sit there, well, I will charge you no more than X, and if
right.
it's less, you'll pay X. That's idiotic.
Mhm.
That's completely idiotic. Instead, think about working on a retainer on a project basis where you give a fixed price. The client's going to be happier because they know what they're going to pay up front.
Mhm.
And if you actually get better at doing what you're doing, let's say that the market out there says it takes 1,000 hours to do a project. And because you worked really hard to figure out how to do that same project in 800 hours, I'll charge you for the 1,000 hours, but I'll get only work 800 hours. So instead of making, let's say, $40 an hour, I'm now making $55 an hour. So it's remarkably easy to double profits
I
in
absolutely.
many industries, not all industries, but in many industries.
Incredible. Incredible. So, well, with that right there, I do want to take us into the lightning round here for our listeners, Josh, and just incredible the journey that you've been on, the successes that you've seen, and now really being able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So, first and foremost, congratulations on that because it is a difficult path to be a founder, and you've seen so much success in your career. So, truly an honor to be able to hear your journey and the successes, and now you could enjoy writing the books and still working with the clients that you have. On this side, I would love to hear about a tool or a resource that you used in your success with a sustainable business. What was the biggest game changer for you as far as a tool or resource went?
Well, it's not a tool, it's a skill I learned.
Yeah.
I learned how to delegate.
Mm,
And in my opinion, that's the hardest skill a business owner will ever learn. When you ask most business owners, have you ever tried delegation? They'll say, yeah, it didn't work. And I'll say, okay, tell me more. And
right.
what happened was they often would make a delegation, which is more like a demand for somebody to do something, never trained them how to do it, never checked up. And when they went back 2 months later, it was done poorly and they blew up because it wasn't done the way they want. Or they delegate something and then 10 minutes later they go and look over the person's shoulder and see if it's done. So they either become helicopter delegators or abdicating delegators, and you don't want to do neither. So you need to have a system, which we have. It's called EIA. I
Mm,
learned that from my first mentor back when I was 26 years old. And that stands for expect, inspect, accept. You set an expectation, you inspect to make sure you accept it when it's done properly. Except most of the time it's not going to be done properly.
mm,
You're going to have to inspect and adapt. So you go and you inspect, it's not done, or you adapt and you modify your instructions and you let them go and do it and you inspect again until it's done right.
mm.
And once it's done, then you make the person document what they did in the checklist. I don't like long documentation. Checklists work much better and they're actually used.
It's absolutely incredible. And then one last question for you before we wrap up the show here, Josh. And this is going to be for our listeners. What is the best piece of advice? Obviously, in a very esteemed career and so much success. What can you leave with for our listeners here before we wrap up the show?
Focus on profits and not sales.
Mm, I love it. I love it. Short and sweet.
I can give you a bunch of them, but that's a big one. The other one is treat your team members as your best customers. They're way more important than your customers are. If your team members are happy, your customers are happy. If your team members are not happy, your customers will get shitty service. Excuse my language. Terrible service.
I love it. With that being said, that does wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. And Josh, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your incredible journey and your insights. And again, clear as day why you were able to see so much success. And again, congratulations for such an incredible career. Truly appreciate you coming on the show. It was an honor and a pleasure to have you on today. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And you can also check out the Sustainable Business at sustainablebusiness.co for their free objective review ebook. And follow Josh on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/ask Josh Patrick. And for more resources and insights with us, you can visit us at closers.io, where we are dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we will see you on the next one.